Life's 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stay on this right line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey, hey.
Well, good evening, Erie County. I'm telling you, we are doing things. We're doing it better. We're learning more. Brenda put this. She spent a long time to put that little intro video in the countdown, just to change things up, just to show you that we're striving every week, every day to make this show better, faster, and way more entertaining. Do a little official countdown. We watch things on the internet and she figures it out, in the house with this technical team. Yeah, and here comes the banners. Brenda's got that all figured out in the command center. She's on headset. She can talk. She can hear. Mr. Graves, thank you for coming. Of course, we got Kim. And we got a guest coming on at 8:30, Dr. John Diamond. People said, "Hey, Brian, let's talk about the Constitution." So I'm like, okay. And locally, John is what I would consider an expert. We'll get into that here. He's going to call in live at 8:30. That way we get plenty of time to kind of work out any bugs or anything new going on. Because like I said, we're trying different things and always striving to make a better product for the peeps. We the people. Man, do we have every week, Wednesday, I swear I could almost do a show every day because every day is just another Biden unbelievable faux pas. I can't get it right. Your mom's here, Say hi, Mom.
Hey, Mama.
Yeah. So I told you she's on the thing. So yeah, like we said, we got some videos to play. A crazy Joe Biden going after the heart and soul of America. And what is that? Are men and women that drive trucks. I just cannot believe the American people, the Democrats, the Republicans, the Independents, the Green Party, actually are considering voting for this guy. How many more union jobs does he have to take away from us till the Democrat parties pay attention and say, wait a minute, the first day, he's always talking about, if you go back in history, you walk, oh yeah, President Trump, he had executive orders, he's a dictator. Who who had the most record amount of executive orders on the first day of office? You know, Sleepy Rainbow Joe Biden. And so what does he do the first day? Whack. Pipeline guys, union guys. The pipeline's been up and running. Everything Trump started, he has to shut down because they can't give him a win. A win. That's fine, So go ahead, guys. Union guys, I was a union card holder. I totally get it. First day in office, whacks all those union pipe jobs. Huge, huge blow to the economy. He shuts down the border construction. I bet you those were all prevailing wages. I bet you those were all union jobs. Whack. And now he was coming after our truck drivers and insulting them by just basically saying you only have an 8th grade education. I'm telling you, I graduated from high school. I was in the military. I have some college underneath my belt. I don't think I could drive a tractor trailer. I mean, I really don't. I can barely get my little trailer backed into the driveway without almost hitting stuff. So I would love to see him. Oh, that's right. Joe Biden did drive trucks. That's right. Because if you go remember, I used to drive trucks. No, you didn't. The little wind up toys that you stole from your daughter after your showers. That was just no, you didn't drive trucks, Joe. You weren't raised by Puerto Ricans. You weren't raised by Greeks. You weren't voted. You weren't arrested. This is all just baloney. It's all there. But the Democrats refuse. They refuse to listen. Oh, that's just propaganda from the right. No, it's not. These are his words. Brenda, you have that video of him throwing a tantrum about the trucks? The truck drivers? Could you put that up?
Did this man just really say this shit?
Guess what? Every trucker out there, whether they have an 8th grade education or high school education, knows they're likely not to have a job in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Why is this man still in office? Why? God, why we voted for him? And then y'all don't want Trump? Why we want him? To have this man for another term, I am taking my brain out of my head and throwing it into the sewer.
Taking my brain out and throwing it in the sewer. And you go ahead and shut that off. He just blubber blobbers. It's just an issue of insulting the men and women that go out every day, try to make an honest living, moving the products that we need. Look what they did during the scandemic when the trucks weren't moving. There was different companies that didn't let them move. So we ended up with a toilet paper shortage. People were shooting each other in Walmarts for toilet paper. This guy insults the men and women that move the freight, that move the food, that delivers the wood so people can go to work. Mr. Graves out there in his neck of the woods, he's a contractor. He doesn't work, he doesn't eat. Well, he's the mayor, but I'm not thinking you make a ton of money doing that out there in that great little area. But the point is, he always comes after the little guy. He was slamming his fist on the desk about this. We're not going to buy self-driving trucks. I really doubt, like the folks down here, the great company, Barnhart Trucking out here, I really doubt they are going to buy self-driving trucks. I won't go on the road. Well, they have these self-driving cars now that are having problems. They have the self-driving delivery little wheeled wagons that don't work. And now you're going to give them a rolling missile. Hi, Visa. A rolling missile down the highway that is electric and doesn't have a driver. That is absolutely ridiculous. This is exactly what the party has become, the party of ridiculous. I swear they sit up late at night and go, "Hey, how can we outdumb ourselves today? Let's do this. Let's force them into electric cars that they can't afford. And once the batteries are bad in a couple of years, it costs $15,000 to $20,000 just to replace the batteries, and the car's not even worth it. Hey Kim, you're live. You only got a
Hey,
couple minutes
Brian, how are you?
because John's going to call in at 8:30. Okay.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm calling you now.
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
want
What
to
you
tell
got?
you something.
Lay it on me.
My grandfather started the Independent Truckers Union of Southern California. And let me tell you something. These truckers are not happy with Joe. Aren't
No.
they the ones that refused to go into New York
Yep.
and all teamed up? And let me tell you, he thinks he can insult them and he's still going to win as president. He is sorely mistaken.
Oh,
They tried those self-driving cars, and look what happened. Then they don't work. They hit somebody.
Oh, we get it. You know, we understand that, but they're trying to manipulate the left that big government is your buddy. It's not. I cannot believe the Teamsters, union truck drivers, men and women that represent different companies across this great land have not just stopped and said, "We're not doing this, Joe. We're not going to have self-driving trucks. We are not
Well,
voting ourselves out of work."
well, remember now, he was the vice president during the pandemic. Remember that.
Yeah. Oh well, trust me, we've got that video. It's in the queue. Trust me. You know how he talked about how he was the vice president during the pandemic. Joe, you weren't there. You were in the desert or in the beach or in
The
dementia land.
basement.
The
He was in the
basement.
basement hiding.
No,
But
I get it.
while we're talking about great patriots, I talked about this the other day. I want to remind everybody, it's the anniversary, and I can't believe it's already been a year of a great Republican patriot right here from Erie. The anniversary of the death of Mr. Nelson. I can't believe it's already been a year, and we miss him so much.
Yeah, folks, if you don't know who Mr. Nelson is, he was the owner and basically the creator of Waldemar. I had so many events with him and I. He would just tell me his stories, and he was like 11 years old when he started working at Waldemar. But unfortunately, you can't do that today. But his stories of the people he met and the people he knew, great patriot, loved the city, invested his every minute and his dime back into this to make people laugh and make them smile. And so, yes, thank you for reminding us. Um, you know,
A living history book.
a legend, man. This guy knew everybody, and he met people from Congress down to generals, and he had some
and
great stories.
and very humble, a very humble man.
Oh, every
You
event,
know,
every day that park was open, he was running around with his little cart, and he had his little radio on, and he was directing like he was 25. So, you
oh
know,
yeah, a great guy. And I
so
also want to remind everybody to take your time to remember why you have an extra day off work this weekend.
exactly. Remember Memorial Day, just
You
not a
know,
day to
it,
barbecue.
a day to barbecue, and remember why you have the freedoms you do and why you have the ability to vote.
I get
And
it.
a great patriot, our state representative Dick Banta, his event this weekend on Sunday at Port Farms. Not only is it going to be a fun time, there's going to be other people out there just like us. Where can you go and spend a $20 bill and get entertained all day long, be able to eat great food, meet other wonderful patriots? And we got to show these people that are taking their time, sacrificing their reputations, and running for office. And let me tell you, We got to back up these people running for state reps, and we got to save our lake. So important.
Oh yeah, I mean, I found a group today. I had posted it. I saw Greg Hayes had tagged in it, forwarded. Greg, I see you called in. Kim's on the line right now. And then just can you wait after 8:30? I have John Diamond calling in. So Greg just tried to call in too. So, but yeah,
And I want to start. I want to do a rally down at the bayfront. You guys, we got to save our lake. It's just one of these wind turbines breaks down or catches on fire, game over for our lake. It's the one true natural asset we have down here. We all enjoy it. We love what it gives to us. We love our $1 million view, and we have to save it because these retards are trying to take it away from us. Green is not better. It's not a green deal. It's just bad all around. And at that, I'm going to let you go, Brian. I can't wait to hear Mr. Diamond speak. And thank you and Brenda for all you guys do. You guys are two of the biggest patriots I know.
thank you.
So please, guys, register to vote, register for mail-in ballot. And I'm going to make a challenge to all of your listeners. If each one of you are listening, if each one of you can bring me one mail-in ballot application, it will make a world of difference. And with that, thanks, Brian. Have a blessed evening, guys.
Thanks, Kim.
Bye, Kim. And speaking of mail-in ballots, and what do I have here is a prop? Of course, I've got the pile. I said I'm going to do this every show. I'm going to talk about them every show. Here is an unopened packet, and we have them. Now I'm going to tell you this. I got a couple minutes before John calls in. This is one of those things I could just say nothing and no one ever know the difference. We had a bad storm, knocked some trees down, power lines down. Of course, a member of the fire department. I have a road shut down so people to go down and run over the wires and run over the firemen. So a lady pulls up in a vehicle and she's like, Hey, how's everything going? Everybody okay? Yeah, it was just a power line's down. She's like, hey, do you have a mail-in ballot with you? I'm like, oh, crap. I didn't have a mail-in ballot with me. The guy that sits in his chair every week, mail-in ballots. So I'm going to split this pack in half and put it in the Hummer because see, I have two vehicles. I drive the police car to summertime, better gas mileage. I drive the Hummer for just police call, fire department calls. So I actually get Joe Q Citizen stops me. So if she is a listener of the show, just text me or myself or Brenda your address. I will personally drop one over to you because I felt like an idiot. The guy that's always mail-in ballots. And I didn't have one on me. I had them in the police car, but I was in the Hummer. I was like, mother, Reddit. So yes, yeah. So I mean, I kicked the tapes on myself. I mean, I get it. I could have not said anything, but the point is, we're all human. We all make mistakes. And, it's just an issue of prepared in the case of a voting. I know, I get it. You never know when you're having a voting emergency. I mean, I get that. And see, and Brenda, you know what I realize I can do? When you put the messages up in the main screen, I can do that too.
Yeah, I noticed that you were doing that.
I just figured it out. I moved my mouse over like Brad Paganoff, and then I just click on it and there it goes. So yeah, Brad, Brad, thanks for that. Brad sends me a bunch of good information. Always say what's going on around the country. I mean, I totally get it, but yeah, it's just one of those issues of Shank is human. Say isn't so. I know, Stan. I know. I get it. Make a mistake. Made it. The lady got me without a mail-in ballot, so I'm going to rectify that. I have packs of them. I just didn't have in the wrong vehicle. I'm going to make sure I put them in the motorcycle also because I'll put the battery in the motorcycle and it's almost that magical time. Yeah, Shank is human. Say no, Shank the tank. We were talking about that the other day. Yeah, knuckleheads. But yeah, so other than that, there's a million things going on. The Trump trial's going on. I really see them really coming out and saying he's not guilty. I mean, come on, man. You got a shyster lawyer that's been skimming money, taking money, stealing money, and Trump's the bad one. No, not so much. So I really think that's going to blow up in their face. I mean, type in your response and we will well, we can talk about that. But like I said, it's just so much going on. It's the yard signs are starting to show up. I officially have the Trump sign mounted on the trailer. Now it looks a little different because it said Trump turns. Brenda ordered some blue vinyl and we just covered over the turns and the 2020. So that was on the road today. I had a guy pull up on a bicycle, beep, beep. It was an electric bicycle. He waved, thumbs up. A lot of beeps, a lot of waves, a lot of thumbs up. I had one guy flip me off. I was like, oh, man, it was such a good start. It had everybody out there cheering and beep beep, thumbs up and everything. And then one guy had to sign. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, did you see? Oh, Kim Learns here today. Yeah. It was a beautiful sign today on the road. I know. Thanks.
Hi, Kim.
She actually spoke. She typed. Yeah, thanks. We appreciate that. We know she's a longtime friend and Harbor Creek gal, and her and Brenda stop over and talk about boys all the time when they ever have to clean their palate of the shenanigans of the men in their lives. So they sit out there and smoke their cigarettes and drink their adult beverages and clear the air. But that's okay. We all need that. One guy
We
might,
just drink our wine.
yeah, I get it. Yeah. Well, right. The one guy likes $4. Yeah, Lisa, thanks. That's a good one. That's a good quote to put up there. One guy likes $4 gas and expensive groceries. It's just because you go online and you watch you watch these interviews of people. Why won't you vote? Well, he's a criminal. What's he been charged with? Well, he's a criminal. Okay, what has he been charged with and convicted with? Well, he's an insurrectionist. When was he charged with insurrection and when was he found guilty? I'll sit here and wait a minute because it didn't happen. But this is exactly what the Democrats do. They get a tagline and they figure out which one, kind of knee jerks the reaction to their base and they just pound on it. Just like the whole abortion thing. That's the only thing they're going to talk about, abortion and insurrection. That's the only thing they've got. They've argued it. We've argued it back. Roe versus Wade has been challenged. The court took care of it. Oh, those are judges were fake and they weren't real and they were Trump appointers. No, they're not. They are judges. That's why I don't even think we should even know their political background. I don't think we should know their stuff. That's why Lady Justice has a blind justice. But we love to do that with our judges, and that's why they're allowed to do cross file locally. Hey, Corey Check, thanks for calling in. Yeah, Corey, you want to call in later? That's fine. Please do. But, we got John Diamond coming in at probably here in just a couple minutes. Let me see, that was missed call. That was just Greg Hanks. Greg, we'll pick you up on the backside also. I haven't talked to you in a while. Thank you for forwarding that Facebook group I found. I was just out messing around and I found this group about no windmills in Lake Erie. So it's not just Erie looking at this; it's our folks in Ohio, and they actually. Shame on you, Brian. What did I do? Yeah. Yep. Well, the gang's all here. It's nice, but this group is. I would like to have a rally here in Erie. I really do. I mean, the three Stooges, our three state reps, need a clear message. Stop voting the party line. Whatever sniffy, sleepy Joe tells you to do, knock it off. You work for us. You don't work for Joe. And that's what sucks is that these three have proven over and over and over the sausage man. Look at that. We got new faces coming in. That's awesome. We're like I said, this is why we need to clear the house. Bizarro's got to go. Harkin's got to go. Mercy's got to go. We need new faces. We need people that are going to represent us. I know, wind farm and the lake. Just because they read it on, some post somewhere or some, green Nazi Gestapo firm came up with this idea. Because think about it. I won't tell Chris where you live, but Chris has a big backyard. They want to put a windmill. They want to put a wind turbine up there. They negotiate a lease with him to put that on his property. He gets a little bit of the dividends. Well, when they go out in the middle of the lake, nobody owns that. But it's amazing how the state says, "Oh, we'll negotiate that lease." And okay, what do we get out of that lease settlement? What did we get out of the whole big, oh, hey, if you guys authorize these casinos, we're going to help you with your taxes? Show of hands. Put in how many people got a tax break because of the casinos. I'll wait because I can tell you the answer. Yeah, Greg. Yeah, after John's done, yeah, I appreciate that. You know, and I told Bob, I said, so you got to run an extension cord to my house so I can get some free power out of this deal? Oh, come on, Brian. That's not how it works. Well, then who's going to make the money off of this? The state's not building them. He explained it's going to be contracted out through a lease program. Okay. And I said, now what happens when these things start to fail? What happens when they spew 1,000 gallons of crude oil, lubricating oil, into the lake? If it's in Chris's backyard, that sucks, but we can clean it up pretty quick and pretty easy. We just put some oil stoppers up. We dig out the bad dirt, ship it off to wherever they ship bad dirt, bring in clean dirt, have a nice day. But this will affect the lake forever, dumping all that oil into the lake. We just started to get it clean. And here, I'm going to imitate Joe Biden as he pounds on the desk while he's talking to make it better. I don't know which dementia Joe just makes no sense. I asked him, who is going to benefit? Oh, the taxpayers of the Commonwealth. How? Well, it'll help their taxes. No, it's not. I said, that's so bullshit. I said, listen, you guys buffaloed us to death over the casino. You guys got us. Oh, because we're so bright-eyed and look at all this money's going to come in. Look at Vegas. Look what they do. Well, this isn't Vegas. We for the obvious reasons, but it's just an issue of, all right, who's going to get this money? Who's going to benefit the state? They won't give us tax breaks. They won't give us tax credits, or they're not going to send. It's not like in Alaska where the oil companies send each and every individual of Alaska a check. They get a check from the oil companies to say thank you for being good neighbors, letting us come up here. Naked Gun series. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, that's a pinner. So at least in Alaska, the big oil companies, they're making money. I imagine they had to file for permits and paid a lot of money for those permits, but they give a check back to the little guy. But see, that's the problem with the Democratic Party right now. They could care less about the little guy anymore. Oh, we're the party of the working guy. No, you're not. That is so full of baloney, and we have shut it down 1,000 times, but they still won't break it. I tell you what, the Teamsters should just shut their trucks off and say, okay, Joe, we're out here with their 8th grade education. What are you going to do? Because who's going to have a job? He's like, oh, within 3 to 5 years, you guys aren't going to have a job. I'm telling you, 3 to 5 months, you're not going to have a job. And then we can stand there and pound on the table and tell you you're out of a job, just to do a horrible, horrible Trump imitation. Hey, Joe, you're fired. And I just can't wait for that day. I am so, my mom and dad, we talk all the time. I was like, my dad's like, I'm sick of this. Well, sir, you are live. So, no, we can't make fun of short people because we are live via the phone with Dr. John Diamond. Thank you, sir, for privileging me with my humble little show. I had the privilege of being on your show when I was running for sheriff. I felt way out of my league talking to national rock star sheriffs, constitutional sheriffs. So, for the people who don't know you, just go ahead and just give us a brief synopsis who you are and where have you been, sir?
Well, try to give you the Reader's Digest version as much as I can.
There you go.
Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. Graduated in 1983. Spent 8 years in the Air Force, where just like you, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. Unfortunately, I was never required to read it, so my public education was pretty much horrible, and got out and ended up reading everything for myself. Took it on by the Declaration, the Constitution, Bill of Rights. I mean, the whole 9 yards, everything that I could find, and that's when I realized really how far our republic has strayed from its original roots. So I've been trying to work for about the last 20 years to restore our republic back to the vision that the founding fathers had.
Oh yeah. Now talk us about your show, America Unhinged. Tell us what you guys talk about on your show.
Yeah, I mean, I do whatever I can to promote people. That's the way my show started. Those of you who are familiar with the biblical story of Moses when they won their first battle after coming out of the promised land, he had Aaron and Hur raising his arms up, and every time the arms were raised, they were winning the victory, and then his arms went down, and um, that is what I realized. When I kind of prayed about it, and the Lord was like, everybody wants to be Moses, and nobody wants to be Aaron and Hur. So I mean, that was really the catalyst for me to start my show. And then all I do is just interview people. I find people out there that are doing good work, whether it's in education, whether it's in movies, whether it's politically. I mean, I don't care what it is. I try to give people a platform that will not get a platform. I mean, about the censorship, and COVID exposed a lot of that too. But we Brighteon TV has a uncensored platform that we can say and whatever we want, don't have to worry about being censored, at least by Brighteon. Now, of course, they won't let us on Facebook and YouTube and everything else, but that's pretty much the reason for my show, is just to give people a voice who are out there doing good work.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And like I said, when you invited me on your show, I was humbled. I was nervous. I mean, I've been on the radio before, I've been in the news, but here I'm getting interviewed, and it's a national. I mean, you guys are worldwide with your show, and now tell the folks where you're working now and what you're doing with that mission.
Well, yeah, I did that for about 3 years, and then like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years. Well, I work for Dr. Alan Keyes, and I get him speaking all over the country. And a guy from the John Birch Society, Robert Owens, who does our constitutional boot camps here locally in Erie, he called me up and basically just wanted Alan to speak at a few events. Could I book that for him? And in the meantime, he was like, "Hey, we're looking for a coordinator for Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New York. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So, I mean, I got 2 books I've written. I've been doing this for 20 years. So the John Birch Society brought me on almost a year now. I think it was June of last year. And that's really what I've been doing, traveling mostly Western PA, but a lot of Ohio and New York, teaching Constitution boot camps wherever we go to help, re-educate the American people on the founding of this nation.
Right, and I get your magazine. I appreciate it. You guys gave me a subscription. I have the magazine. It's nice to sit down and actually read a magazine and not so much online. I mean, I get the whole online thing, but it's great information. A couple folks said, "Hey, can we talk about the Constitution?" I said, "Twist my arm." That was why the Democrat Party came after me when I ran for sheriff, because I was on your show with other national sheriffs that were constitutional sheriffs. And the question was, if the FBI came in or some other alphabet entity came in and they said, "Hey, Shank, we're coming in. We need your help to confiscate the weapons of all these insurrectionists. What is your answer?" I said, "Absolutely not." I say, "I will stand shoulder to shoulder with my people. It's real simple. Posse comitatus. You are now a deputy sheriff, and you're not coming in." But see, the Democrats don't like strong Republicans, and that's where Mayor Bloomberg put $200,000 hit on my head to get me out, because we're like, "Oh, we can't have that kind of Shank talking all across the country on stuff." But yeah, so Constitution. Everybody thinks that they're expert. It's not. It's like, You're violating my rights," and I go, Which right am I violating?" Step stutter. So, knowledge is power, and I gotta tell you, it's a complicated thing, and smarter men than I have argued it and argued it, but Jake Banta, constitutional guy. Whenever he goes to an event, he hands out little copies of the Constitution. You guys do the same thing in your boot camps. So, people are like, hey, bring someone on, let's talk about it. Well, we're going to talk about it. And it's probably one of the best pieces of paper that have ever been written on. And man has stood and died for that piece of paper. But man, I tell you, these liberal Democrats are coming after hard. So what do you think is the biggest target that they're looking at when they're coming after the Constitution?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're one of the biggest thing they're doing right now is what they call the Convention of States, where they basically want another constitutional convention. They'll say they don't, but they do, and they want to go in and basically just destroy the Constitution that we have now. So we're fighting that battle in Ohio. We're fighting it here in Pennsylvania. It actually passed in New York, and then fortunately New York rescinded their application for that. But like you said, I mean, the Constitution is an absolutely brilliant document. And it really is the only thing standing between us and absolute tyranny. So they have to water that document down. They have to destroy it. They have to remove, electoral college and Second Amendment and freedom of speech and freedom of religion, all the things that that our founding fathers put in place to make it keep a republic. They're trying to remove all of those things. So I know Biden's talking about signing this pandemic treaty, which will basically make the United Nations God, and they can call some kind of pandemic, and the rest of the world just has to do what they do. I mean, this is so un-American, it's not even funny. I mean, you can read George Washington's farewell address, and he talked about being friends with everybody, but allegiance to none, and he warned about foreign entanglements. And that's part of our problem. We want to have this big one world planet, but it also comes with one world tyranny if the wrong people get control of the rudder.
Oh, absolutely. Now it's funny. You really break it down. I mean, if you go, okay, everybody knows the First Amendment. Now it's funny. People are like, "Why do you think they did that one first?" I said, "Well, I would go with our forefathers didn't particularly like being told what to do by a king,
Right.
and then so they wanted the right to stand up and say, I don't agree with you, and not have their heads cut off." And then, my interpretation, I think it was genius to put the Second Amendment as number two, so you can stand and save those rights. And the key word that people really have to remember, shall not be infringed.
Right.
I mean, I got caught up with the city of Erie with the we were open carrying at a rally. We had a permit. We had everybody there. We had our attorney with us, and we still got a ticket in the mail. Nothing against Erie PD. They were just the puppets being told what to do by the puppet master. And we
Right.
went to court. We were found guilty. They threw it out the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and they all agreed. They said, "Hey, city ordinance cannot supersede the Constitution." And I love that story because you know what? I was there. I mean, here I am, a former police officer, sitting on the other side of the bench, being charged with a crime that violated my civil rights. So, and
Yep.
that's what's really kind of got me a springboard to do what I do. And people are like, listen, Shank, you got a big mouth. You really do. You better put up or shut up. So, that's what we do. And then you go into, you get a search and seizures, and you get into this whole mucky muck thing. And look what this clown is doing in California. Governor
Mm-hmm.
Newsom wants a new constitutional amendment to do away with the second constitutional amendment.
Yeah.
He's bumped his head. The governor has nothing, zero say on what the knuckleheads in DC do with the Constitution. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's way out of his lane.
Yeah, he would never get any support from the rest of the states to have a constitutional amendment to get rid of the Second Amendment. There's no way. The only way that they're going to be able to pull that off is if they do this, Convention of States Constitutional Convention, because I mean you've been in politics long enough, so have I. They'll be like, okay, well we'll give you term limits as long as you get rid of the Second Amendment. We'll give you a balanced budget as long as you get rid of the Electoral College. This is the handshakes and the buddy system that happens anytime that these people get into get into some type of negotiation. We got to reach across the aisle. We got to work with the other side. Not if working with the other side takes your God-given rights away from you, then you absolutely do not have to reach across the aisle. Matter of fact, your job is to protect our God-given rights. It's the only reason government exists. If you read the Declaration of Independence, but again, we're kind of ignorant on the Declaration. We're kind of ignorant on the Constitution, and that's what we're doing with the John Birch Society. We're going we're actually all over the country, but my territory again is Ohio, Western PA, and Western New York. I got Dr. Douglas Frank, which is on Mike Lindell's election integrity team. I got him coming 6 consecutive nights in July, starting in Pittsburgh and then straight up 79 to a whole bunch of different stops, ending up here in Erie on the 16th. And then we bring Constitution boot camps on the heels of those, and people are loving them. People are absolutely loving them. Every time we do one, we get an invitation, for 2 more. So re-educating the American people is really what we're doing here with the John Birch Society.
And you're absolutely 100% right. And this is why people like you, myself, the gentleman in the room, Chris Phillips, yay, Erie 8, he stood shoulder to shoulder with me downtown, staring down, Erie PD. And again, nothing against them. They just had, their walking orders. But we were just 8 guys that never knew each other. I never knew Chris before that. We never had met before. I think we were on social media talking about guns or whatever. But then we actually put our boots in the ground and we actually said, no, enough's enough. This is illegal. You can't do it. I don't care what you say, Joe. You're wrong. And well, they proved us wrong that we were found guilty. I think Chris Phillips at $280 they fined us, but then they suspended it because they knew it was going to go in an automatic appeal. And thank you, Jesus, the court system worked. The Pennsylvania judges got it right. And they looked at the city of Erie and say, hey, you guys might want to read this kind of document. It's called the Constitution. We have one in Pennsylvania and we have one on the national level. So that was, and a real quick backstory. The Mayor Joe at the time, Senate, he worked for county government. We were having lunch together at a meeting. He just leaned across the table and goes, Brian, you didn't take that whole gun thing personally, did you? I said, no, thank you for the start of my political career. Because you got to put up or shut up. And I was willing to go to jail. The NRA caught the story, cut us a check and said, thank you. So, yeah, I mean, the Constitution, it's a growing, breathing document. And our forefathers were smart enough to put that into play. They really were. That it could be changed. But the problem is with politics today, you could have the best idea that changed man and woman today and try to make a constitutional amendment. It would never pass. I don't think they could do it.
Yeah, I mean, the Constitution's there's 2 ways to amend the Constitution according to Article 5. There's the way we've done it 27 times, starting with the first 10 amendments, which is the Bill of Rights, and we have 27 that has everything from freeing the slaves to giving women the right to vote to we had prohibition, which you couldn't have alcohol, and then we had to do another amendment to get rid of prohibition. But that's the way you do it is with the first part of Article 5. But what they want to do is they want to go in and just totally change the internal workings of the document. It'd be a runaway convention. They'll just throw it out, throw the Constitution out, and they'll just put another one in its place. And I guarantee you, there is very few people in this nation right now that have the political history that understand, Greek republics and Roman republics and the history of government. Nobody matches up today with the founding fathers. I mean, when I first started studying this stuff, I mean, I had to actually go into a dictionary and try to figure out what some of these words mean, right? Oligarchy, tyranny, usurpation, despotism. I'm like, this is not stuff that we were taught in the public schools. So, I mean, even going back and just reading the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, I mean, these things were written for farmers, right? And I mean, most Americans, and including me, that has a doctorate, didn't even know what many of these words were. So it just shows their strategy, really, just to dumb down the American people as much as they can. That way, they can keep us ignorant and they can keep us enslaved.
Oh, they've been dumbing down America for years. I mean, this is all it's about is dumbing down America. Chris, I don't know if you can see his text in the room. He goes, "We as Americans need to become reacquainted with our spines." I'm like,
Exactly.
that's a bumper sticker. But so
Yeah, exactly. But again, everything's got to be done legally, and you got to know your rights. And once you know your rights, then you're, able to defend them. But that's the problem. People don't know their rights. So, I mean, I can give you COVID as an example. I didn't do anything different during COVID because I knew the government didn't have any authority to tell me to do any of the stuff they were doing. I mean, the executive orders that came and shut everything down they basically read like arrest warrants. They were putting people on house arrest. Well, the Fourth Amendment says no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. I'm like, you don't have the authority to put me on house arrest. I haven't done anything wrong. Or when they would leave some people's business open and close other ones. I remember down here in Corey, they closed that Needful Things bakery down there, and she stood up for a little while and refused to shut down. And I said, I wish I owned a business there because the 14th Amendment says that we have equal protection under the law. You're going to shut me down. You better shut down government. You better shut down Walmart. Better shut down Home Depot. You can't pick and choose winners and losers. It's equal protection under the law. So, I mean, just the Fourth and the 14th Amendment would have saved us from that COVID tyranny if people understood why they were written and how to apply it to their personal lives.
Oh, right. And I get that. You bring up some great points with the whole COVID illegal lockdown. People are like, well, he's like, like the Gestapo. No, he's more like Caesar sitting in the Colosseum, thumbs up or thumbs down if your business failed or succeeded. What business in America isn't important? What is it? 90 some percent of businesses now are locally owned by mom and pops, as they say. And of course, the big shots, they didn't get shut down. And Greg Hayes and I drove down to that bakery and we had pie just to show that lady, she goes, "You guys drove all the way?" I said, "I drove from Harbor Creek for pie because I heard your pie is good." But it was the point of just spiritually saying, we're here with you. You might not see us, you might not hear us, but we hear you, what you're doing. And again, these are things that are that right now that this illegal president has been doing, and his cronies just chipping away at our Constitution and our freedoms of religion. Look what they have done to and what was the number one goal of our forefathers? Freedom of religion. They didn't want the king to tell them who to worship. So, I mean, look at their attack on our religious beliefs, and I think it's disgusting.
Yeah, both of the books I've written, the one in 2006 and the one in 2012, deal with that exact, because basically what was an undermining of the Declaration of Independence, because the Declaration of Independence says we hold these truths self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator. We're all created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. I came down in Corey, sat down with my state rep during this whole lockdown and everything, and I sat in his office. I said, "What is your job?" He didn't know. And I said, "Your job is to protect my constitutional God-given rights. That is your job. That is your only job. Not to fund education, not to fund roads, nothing else. Governments are instituted among men to protect our God-given rights." And that's why I didn't do anything different the entire COVID outbreak, because I mean, I knew it was all just threats. Just like when you stood up with your Second Amendment. Everybody that stood up to the government during COVID and said you don't have the authority to do it, they were vindicated, just like you were vindicated with the Second Amendment thing. Everybody across the nation was vindicated by this that stood up. And that's exactly what we need. It's all a paper tiger. It's all just empty threats. I was coaching my kids' flag football team down here in Corey, and they came down and said, "Oh, your coaches and your parents aren't social distancing, not wearing masks. We're going to shut you down." And I was like, "Dude," I told the guy running it, I said, "It's a paper tiger. It's empty threats. They have absolutely no authority to do anything that they're doing." And we ignored them, and they come and threatened us again later. And last warning, we're going to shut you down. Well, they never shut us down because they never had the authority to.
Yeah.
But they're playing on our ignorance. They're saying you're ignorant. We're going to tell you what the Constitution says. You just have to know better.
I was sitting on county council. I literally just got elected, and then they slammed us shut. And people were like, you are out doing this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, yeah, I am. because, well, they said that's against the law. I said, no, it's not. What law did they write? What law did a legislator write? Run it through the gauntlet, get it signed, and have the governor sign it. Nothing. Nada. It's just like these
Correct.
stupid masks. My wife, I made a mask for my Hummer, and people thought that was the cutest thing that I was promoting masks. I said, no, you knuckleheads. I'm saying this is how dumb it is to make people wear masks. I'm just going to put one on my Hummer. That's how dumb it really
Yeah.
was. But yeah, so there's just so much going on, and people are just not paying attention. That's why you do your show, I do my show. I mean, I'm still in the puppy mode. Your show, you reach out with national guests. Now, if someone wanted to watch your show, where's the best place to find it?
You can go to my website is americaunhingedradio.com. You can see it live streamed from there. But the TV channel is called Brighteon, Brighteon, Brighteon TV, and we've got I think 59 different hosts. Sheriff Mack was the guy who you were on with, constitutional sheriff. We got Dr. Alan Keyes, we got Mike Adams. I mean, we got a long list of people. It's basically like Fox, only everybody does it remote. And yeah, they can find it there and get alternate. I mean, we got health doctors on there that that'll tell you the truth about the vaccines and about everything else. We've got educators, we got pastors, we got. I mean, you and I are both former police officers, so we got constitutional sheriffs on there. We got a great lineup.
You've got a great war and you got a great mission, and that's like when you asked me to join your show. I was like, I was blessed, and because I know this is a big deal, and it's people like you, myself, everybody that comes to my show every Wednesday night to look at my ugly face and hear me rant about all this stuff is like, you've got to change. We have to change direction. We have to get out and vote. Are we going to win everything? No, but we're not winning anything, and we're losing. And so yeah, I know
Yeah.
you. I know you're heavy on Rumble. I've watched your stuff on Rumble before, so that's a great place to find you. And now, if somebody wants to become a member and wants to get a copy of that cool magazine I get every month, how would they sign up for that?
You can go to jbs.org. That stands for John Burke Society. John Burke Society. We got so many resources there. It's not funny, but we're putting together teams basically in every county, and that's going to be where we take this thing back. Is at the county level. We can't expect the state to come save us.
No.
We certainly can't accept the white hats to come save us. Trump's not going to come and save us. Everything has to be done at the county level. So if we put these teams together at the county level, I mean, we can nullification is one of the big things that we teach on the John Burke Society. In other words, if they don't have the authority to do it, we're going to get our government to tell them not to. For example, in Michigan, one of the counties in Michigan just filed a nullification at the county level saying that all Michigan state firearm laws and all federal firearm laws are null and void in this county. And that's exactly what our local leaders are supposed to be doing. Is if Pennsylvania's got the greatest Second Amendment at all, the right to bear arms shall not be questioned. Period. So that's what we need to do in Erie County. We need to do it in Crawford County. I just got back from Pittsburgh later today. We're putting together teams all up and down 79 because that's my territory, and we're gonna get these people in there. We're gonna get these electronic voting machines out, go back to paper ballots. We're going to become Second Amendment sanctuary counties. I mean, anything that the tyrants are doing, we're basically going to tell them to go pound salt. But there are legal ways to do that.
Oh, absolutely. We have to play by the rules. They don't, and I learned
Right.
that really quick. But and I've learned something really quick. The more they say they don't want you to do something, that makes me do it even more because I know you're being sneaky about it. But yeah,
Exactly.
but now, yeah. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your call. I know you got the grandkids, and I'm shocked I haven't heard any crazy stuff in the background. You got some well trained grandkids, and
I'm out in the driveway. My kids are in the house. I'm out in the driveway with my puppy. Out on the farm, out in the driveway with my puppy. They're all in there, doing their thing.
Yeah, John, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your dedication. Everybody that watches this show, it's growing. We keep getting more formats. We're working on Rumble. That one's tough, and but we're gonna get there. is look up, Dr. John Diamond, look at his stuff, read his stuff, subscribe to his organizations, because I'm telling you, it's good reading. I mean, literally, I go, whoa, that was deep. I got to reread that one again. But no, again, thank you. We appreciate you. Keep up the fight. We're behind you. You've got good patriots. Now that's why we wanted you on the show. I know you're not watching the show, but Brenda has been basically, scrolling your information and on our chat, and it says, "Welcome, John Diamond, America Unhinged." So we're here gingerly promoting it visually where you can't see us because we know you're on a phone call. But again, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time, and let's be safe out there.
Absolutely. Keep up the good work and look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, Shank out.
Thanks.
All right. I'll tell you what, you talk about a guy that knows a lot of stuff, a guy that knows a lot of people. He's got the information. All you got to do is reach out. Brenda basically put his link on the chat, so that was it. So Greg, if you wanted to call in, the line is open. We don't say no to anybody unless you're a liberal Democrat. Love my ringtone. Greg Hayes, you are live. Boots on the ground, my friend. Are you there? I think I lost you. Try that again. Tick tock, tick tock. I don't want to call him back because then we'll be trying to call each other. I must have dropped them. Cell phones. America. Are you there, Greg? Hello?
Hey, hello there, Brian.
There he is. We caught you. It dropped the call. I hit go and it died. But no, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate your call. What's going on in your world?
Oh, just all kinds of things, really.
Yes.
I wish sometime it could be just easy good news, but it seems to just never end. As of lately, obviously, what we've been doing up there towards Northeast with the Erie County Airport and the solar farm, that's still kind of bouncing back and forth. People have
Right.
spoken. The supervisors have spoken. Now it's up for appeal, and it looks like it could possibly go. I guess the people's voice really doesn't have too much weight on anything.
Right.
But, we've been working with that. And, people always ask me, it's like, what do I have against solar? I have nothing against solar on your house. But there's a whole lot of difference between 10 or 12 little panels up on your house and 333,000 panels that they want to put out there. That's going to require cooling ponds, toxic waste, all kinds of problems.
Look what happened out west with the hailstorms they just had. It took out an entire acres and acres of solar panels. And what are they going to do with them? They're going to take them down, throw them in the landfills.
And here's the problem that most people don't understand is what you guys were talking about, the wind farms or anything else. They are subcontracted out to contractors that put them up. Basically, everything's paid by the federal government, and then they run them until they start having problems with them, and then they leave.
And we get stuck cleaning them up.
Exactly.
I know.
And it's been done so many times at so many places. You'd think people would actually learn, but I guess they got to get hit right in the head with the thing before they understand exactly what this game is. What's going on right now with the wind turbines in Erie County. I lived in Rochester, right outside of Rochester, New York. I ran a ski area up there, and I was up there for about 4 different winters. And if you look at the top of the mountaintops around the down near the Finger Lakes, you'll see on top of almost every mountain just tons and tons of windmills. So, over the period of 4 years, I get to watch them. And basically, 90% of them never did anything. They had a couple that broke down and one that actually caught on fire.
Yep.
They are just, and even that most people don't realize, just like in aircraft, which I do understand that pretty well, those turbine blades have a time duration, and it's not very long, like 3 or 4 or 5 years. So when they have to go up and completely take the turbine blades off, what do they do with them? They take them out west and bury them.
Oh yeah, I had a discussion with a lady online. I was like, "Listen, you don't understand. And I said exactly what you just said, and that was before we even talked. These things have a shelf life. They're just fiberglass. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're just
Hmm.
fiberglass.
Pretty much, right?
They have a shelf life, and once the shelf life has expired, they take them, they bury them. They no, they don't. There's only one company in the country that recycles them, and they basically grind them up and put them in concrete for
That's
reinforcement.
it.
And
That's
that's
it.
one company. And my theory is like, I don't know if you heard of, we were talking earlier about this. I said, if they're on land, at least if you have something go wrong, it catches on fire, I can get you a fire truck, or you just let them fall and you let them burn. Or
Hmm.
if the lubricating oil spills on the ground, okay, we can dig it down and we can clean up. It's in the middle of the lake. I don't think my fire department can drive their new, $750,000
Nope.
engine out there to put it out.
They're
And
just going to let it burn until it falls over, and then they'll
here's
maybe clean it up.
Republicans. You and I are Republicans talking
Hmm.
about making sure that our environment is clean and safe. Usually, it's the left are like, "Oh, we're environment people." I care about that lake.
Sure, I do.
People ask me about what's the biggest threat to Lake Erie. I'm like, us. We're the ones
Ex-
that pollute it, and now we want to
Exactly.
put windmills out there so they spew their crap all over the place.
I
And
mean, we're not talking even about the effects to the beautification of the area, anything like that, which is pretty obvious. But for a candidate that's obviously looking to redo his seat, I don't understand how in the world Murphy can look at this with a straight face.
because
As
he's
you you
just
know,
one of the three stooges that are told what to do.
well, there's a couple more things that are going on. I mean, obviously we got this, and it was funny that you mentioned with that post that I shared of yours. I was, people can go on and see some of my comments on it, but one of the things that I was talking about was just what you and I have been saying, and one of the comments was simple. Every time we come up with something green, you guys want to do something to destroy it. No, every time you come up with a harebrained idea, I will do everything I can to protect the people.
Right.
There's a difference, and they don't understand that part. So we have the solar panel, the solar farm going up over, by the Erie County Airport. We have windmills that are going to just be a nightmare out in the bay. And then, while all this is going on as a nice distraction, I'm sure you don't know about this, and it really hasn't been let out for public knowledge yet. But you know where Presque Isle Marina is.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the problems that they've been having with the new docks that they're putting in?
Not really, because probably one of those things they're keeping quiet.
Last year, I had a few people that are members. Now you got to remember, there's probably 100 boats in this thing. That's probably the largest marina that Erie has. Okay, so they made them get out in August because we're going to start working on these new docks. Okay, that's a kind of a pain. And you kind of ruined the fall, but okay, everyone pulls out.
Right.
Well, then they were, because of the weather being so decent over the winter, they were actually able to get most of the docks in. So they're ahead of schedule. Great. Everybody's all happy. Except the electric that needs to be provided to each docking area won't be done until the end of the month, is what they were told. So they're waiting on transformers. Well, I got a phone call yesterday from one of the same people that contacted me a year ago. They will have no power there this year at all. Now, what I want to know is, where's our local representatives? Where's our local senators? Where's our local people that are supposed to be doing something for the constituents that they're right there? And I mean, we're not talking a few of them. We're talking 100 families at minimum. They're
Right.
not going to get their transformers in this year at all.
Welcome to the government.
Yeah. But yet, what's our local people been doing to even stay up on this? Actually, if I asked them, I would wonder if they'd even know.
What which district, which state rep area would that be?
Ryan Bizarro.
Oh, gee, go figure. If it doesn't have puppy dogs or LGBTQ and DRZ people, you could care
Oh,
less about
yeah.
it.
So we got one over there in clear up in northeast that area. We got one with the windmills. We got one that's not doing anything to help their constituents. What do these people do?
Well, yeah,
It was funny listening to John and listening to the back in the time of COVID and stuff. I mean, obviously everybody knows I ran against Bizarro in 2020. I was continuously beat up about, where's your mask? What are you doing this? What, like I'm going out and trying to be Typhoid Mary and trying to kill half the world.
right.
All right. Meanwhile, my business, North Coast Flight School, was completely exonerated from any behavior, period, because we were considered a vital service. Okay. So we didn't have to wear mask or anything else. But yet, constantly while I was running against Bizarro, I was constantly getting beat up on it. As you look at some of the things that they did. Now, I mean, I'll be very honest and speak right up front. I've never had a vaccine. I've never had anything. Some of which was because of the injury I went through back in 2020. But as I look at it, I mean, I never did anything wrong. The only time I put a mask on is when I absolutely had to. And now, when you hear John talking about this now, and you look at it in hindsight, all I'd ask is, Mr. Bizarro, let me ask you a question: who was right?
Yeah. Oh, those are questions we've all asked them. And, and Jake Banta, he gets on board, you know, drive through this whole shenanigans out in Northeast with their marina, and they've actually turned that project around. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've got their authority up and running. They've got the people. I think they've got the people in place to run it.
You mean what happens when you actually have an elected official get involved?
I was still on council when that whole thing hit the fan, and basically they invited me to the pre meetings before we're like, okay, what do we do? And we had great meetings down there with Jake Banta. I don't think Navy guys do boots on the ground, but he was on the ground running to fix this because he knows this is important to Northeast. He knows it's important to the financial security of his district. And what did the other ones do? I actually saw a picture of Harkins with a suit on, handing out a large check with Rainbow Joe. Well, of course, he's like Casey. He shows up at election time, does basically nothing, maxes out all his perks. I think the one positive thing I have to say they did was they helped Erie PD get new motorcycles. Okay, that's your job, and they
Yeah,
made it.
that's nothing to be applauded. If a kid does something right, yes, you can thank him for it. But it should not be something that's done outside the norm because that's what's expected.
Right. Well, it's election time, just like Casey. He came to Erie at EMTA. I was still on council. I'm like, what is he doing here? Oh, that's right. He's up for reelection next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he was about part of the defund the police. He hates the police. He is just stay in step Democrat that ever tells whatever Wolfie and now the new Gestapo in Harrisburg to do what they're told.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the money. Who's going to get the contracts for these wind turbines? That's what I want to know. Who is bidding for these things, and follow the money? And I bet you somewhere somebody was putting money in someone's account or
Oh, certainly.
taking
Certainly.
fishing. So
It's endless. The more I've just always kind of been an advocate for trying to just keep things up on level.
yeah.
It's something where we all know what's really happening. I mean, if you think about this, like I go back to the solar farm. The supervisors voted no. The people overwhelmingly voted no. They get to appeal, and now it's before the appellate court, and it could possibly go through. So what the hell good voice are it?
Well,
I mean, you don't have a voice.
totally agree with you. Well, and so why do we bother? And that's exactly why we're in this scenario we're at. People are so disgruntled, they're so disengaged over the political system. That's why we had 22% of Republicans get out and vote. and then they sit back and say, "Well, that really sucks." People,
Well, obviously, the rule of law really doesn't hold up too much in this state right now because, I mean, if you really go back to it, Act 77 was illegally passed. They've already said that. The courts have said it, and yet it's still in effect.
still in effect.
So what possible good is it? Of course, we're doing the mail-ins. We're doing everything we possibly can. But I think in our heart of hearts, we all want to go back to, you remember when you were a child, when you go into voting booths with your mother or father, they shut the curtain behind you, flip the switches, and by 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, you know who won.
Well, you can thank George Bush and his shenanigans in Florida for that malarkey with the hanging chads.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't care if we go, if we got to act like a bunch of heathens like we are or have been as far as our elections, fine, dip my finger in it. I'll stick my thumb in some purple ink.
Right. And that's where, the people, the Republicans are like, oh, we don't want to be that way. Well, guess what? The Democrats call us names to our faces. We're insurrectionists. Look at Hillary Clinton. How many times did she say Trump is an illegitimate president? How many times? But that's okay. Mr. Trump, President Trump says it, oh, well, look at this, and interference.
He's an election denier.
Yeah, we all are, just because Republicans,
I know.
and Hillary Clinton calling us names, and Maxine Waters, saying we need to be beat up, and Joe Biden threatening us to take us behind the shed. Look what just happened at the RNC. They shut it down and they're under lockdown. Why? Because the Democrat Party is nothing but a cult, and it does nothing but foster hate, and all they do is come after and attack and attack and attack. But then you stand up and you defend yourself. Insurrectionist, right there.
Instantly. You remember when I did that Second Amendment thing down in Edinburgh?
Yeah.
We were put on alert because Black Lives Matter was supposedly coming in. As it turned out, they didn't. Okay, well, mistakes on us, but that's the information we were given.
We had
So
the right.
basically, everybody was along the parade route. Nobody was heckling. Nobody was causing anything. Because I actually went up to the Giant Eagle in Edinburgh, in their parking lot, and had a talk with every one of them. I sat there with the police, and I told them, this is to demonstrate what you're allowed to do. Do not screw this up. Do not do anything stupid.
Right.
You do not have you do not have the right to retaliate, should I say.
No.
So that's all that was. But instantly I became the big crazy guy.
Well, you're right. Well, that was before the alleged insurrection,
Right.
where after the videos came out of the police unlocking the doors and letting people in, and a Capitol police officer murdering a Air Force veteran, an unarmed
Yeah.
female
And nothing ever happened.
veteran,
Yep.
unarmed.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. While that was going on, I was watching it on television. I got a phone call from a lady that was actually there that sent me pictures that were sent off to the DOJ that showed exactly what people have been saying. They were bringing them in SUVs, dropping them off.
Right. And then Pelosi was in charge of the security and waved off the security measures that were in place. Well, if you actually read Donald Trump's speech, I don't see anywhere in there that I know. I mean, I'm only an 8th grade truck driver, because that's how us Republicans
No,
are.
and yet there's still people in prison, not charged, not arraigned, nothing, just languishing in prison because of the insurrection.
Well, the Navy veteran that had the paint and the horns on, whatever his name was, I always forget his name.
Oh yeah, the Huan, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
As soon as the videos were released that he was escorted and doors were open for him, they let him go because they got proven they lied. That's all they do is lie to make it happen. We get that. I have my haters. You have your haters. Everybody in this room has got their haters.
Oh yeah,
we get that. I don't care. I flick it off, and we drive on. But that's but you, me, Kim Hunter, we can't do this. We cannot fight this fight by
No,
ourselves. We
we
can't.
need support. We need the best way to support anything is to spend 5 minutes of your time and either fill out a mail-in ballot somehow, but your vote, we need more than 22% in this county. 22% is an afterthought.
Right.
Why in the heck? I mean, we're not at least 75%.
Well,
I
right,
mean,
because
it's,
if you talk to Republicans, you actually talk to them, say, "Hey, man, you know, how about this mail-in ballot? We're Republicans, we're conservatives, we get out and vote." No, you don't. 22%, man.
yeah.
22%. I've got the math right here and shows you. I said I could be a really butthead and pull up the voter law. You know, you get walking list. You know who voted and who's. I bet you $5 they didn't vote. I'm gonna have to steal this. I stole it from somebody else. We are one snowstorm away from a disaster because Joe Q Republicans like, oh, I'm not going out there. It's too snowy. I got my chocolate. I
Exactly.
got my slippers on. I got Netflix. Well, then
Hmm.
put in a mail-in ballot, man. It's that simple. You know, did you hear my story? What I talked about what happened to me this afternoon about a mail-in ballot? Uh,
Yeah.
all right, everybody get 10 of them and stick them in your
Yeah, to stick them in the
vehicles.
cars, definitely,
Stick
because
'em-
it's
yeah.
surprising. You know, you get hit up for that stuff in some of the weirdest places.
I would have
But
never thought in a million years that I'm at the middle of a storm. The trees are falling. You know, Penelec's scrambling to get the part. Hey, Brian, do you have a mail-in ballot? No, I don't.
well, I mean, maybe, I mean, if the people don't see it, and I know, we've had in the past that, there's Republicans that I question at times, and over the years we all do that, but we're always going to have differences as far as opinions and how that goes. I understand that, but they're not working against us physically. I mean, these guys. I mean, the windmill thing. What would that produce for revenue for Erie?
Doesn't help me.
It would do absolutely nothing. I remember hearing you earlier when you were talking about the casino. That was the biggest disinformation bunch of garbage I've ever heard.
And how dumb we were to believe it.
I mean, everybody, and I know, it did cut the property taxes for the residents of Summit,
Okay.
but of course that was said very quietly, the last part. Everybody assumed Erie County was going to get that break.
Well,
Well,
that was
obviously.
part of the deal from the governor. You know, I'd like to know
Mhm.
how much campaign money he got from the casinos to help pass that. And matter of
Right.
fact, a real quick backstory: I was still at the prison. They put us to they put us on no pay status because they wouldn't settle the budget and they were arguing over the casinos. This local cartoonist had a picture of a corrections officer sitting in a chair, someone pointing a gun out of him and says, "Hey, if we don't get our way, these DOC guys get it." And that was the gospel. So
Mhm.
they put enough pressure on that. We had to go to work and not get paid. We have a no
Oh,
strike.
yeah.
We have a no strike clause. Not allowed to strike.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was just an issue of, yeah, wow,
I
guys.
mean,
And then how much crap from these three local state reps are we going to take? How much more crap are we going to take from Bizarro and his abuse? I've got all his abuse. Shank,
I got tons of his
yeah,
stuff.
Shank can't walk and chew bubble gum. I said, buddy, I was jumping out of airplanes, but you're still chasing whoever you chase in a sandbox.
Well, I'll give you a little story with him. When I had my school at Erie International, I had to schedule at least 5 to 6 times for him to actually show up.
Well, you didn't have puppy
He
dogs there.
he had this problem or he had that problem and then he showed. I got a whole lot more out of his chief of staff than I ever did out of him.
Right.
I mean, obviously they talk about the pilot shortage. They talk about this. They talk, everything. And anybody that wants to do anything, they do nothing to help them.
Well,
So, I just brought him in to show him what was up. I mean, I was on the airport authority for over 5 years. Everything, I knew what was going on. I mean, look at the stuff that has happened since then. How many times have we hear stuff about this airport? I mean, my God. I mean,
you know,
if next year I could pop in at the same, just right in the same sentence and go, well, we still haven't heard anything, and you're not gonna.
No, I mean, I'm a huge, huge person to say get rid of the director. I went on council,
Oh,
and the way he talks to us, and the way he talks and how he thinks he runs this town, dude. You should be fired. You should have been. You guys should have fired him when you had the chance. Double shame on you.
when we were doing the interviews, he literally knew my life history. He went through it, tried to, everything, and it was even said in the boardroom. Well, at least that guy knows about you.
Well, of course.
He did his homework.
You know,
And then I had a meeting with him 3 days later, and I wanted to punch the wall on the way out.
Oh, the way he talked to me when he came to council, I was like, wow, you if you don't ever think you're getting a favor from me.
Well, how do you think it goes when it comes time for negotiations with new airlines?
What new airline?
Exactly. In other words, I mean, he's been to the Pennsylvania Aviation Council, and he doesn't do anything with that anymore. I mean, all this kind of stuff.
And they get a raise.
Oh,
He gets a
I
raise.
voted against every raise that he has ever got.
Lord, I wish I could screw up and get a big pay raise like that.
Yeah, he's making close to 200,000 a year.
For
He's
what?
got two pensions, running an airport that could probably be run by your laptop.
Listen, I don't know nothing about running an airport, and I bet you I could do it. I bet you I could do it. Other
Well,
than the technical FAA, regulations and this, that, and the other thing.
yeah, look at the personnel that's left. There's nobody there. The police force is dwindled down to nothing. They even have advertisements out looking for people.
Well,
I mean, nobody wants to work there. I get phone calls all the time from people that still work there that are just absolutely beside themselves.
they still
And
got a
this
huge.
is, I mean, a lot of people don't realize this is one thing. I mean, we talk about growing Erie. That's probably one of the single biggest things: the rail, the water, and the air.
I understand that. I get that.
We do have the trucking somewhat. I mean, I know a lot of those guys, and they do a great job of what they do. Thank God, because otherwise we wouldn't be getting anything.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I mean, I get that. I don't want to get into details on the show, but he still has a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against him from a former
Yep.
employee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he shut down the only canine certified canine.
Me and Pat Capabianca fought against that one, and there's a Republican and a Democrat, so you can't say it was political.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I remember I was brand new on county council, and I had never really spoke like that. And they're like, Councilman Shank, you have a few words? Oh crap, they know who I am. Let's slide in here, say a few words. But I guess
it's an eye opener.
Yeah. So I mean, but it was, it was about the wall of history.
That one I went after too.
Yeah.
I
Tear it
beat him on
down.
two big things right off the bat, and really none of those should even have been brought up. Do your job. When he was hired, he was given a mandate by the board directly. Your job is to bring in new flights. He's done everything in the world except.
Well, great. What to get? Well, we got a new coffee lounge, and
we got a restaurant that's worthless.
Restaurant. You got to have people there to eat. Call me crazy.
We lost almost the entire police force.
I've heard there's only literally a handful. They only have. It's just like,
I think
typical
3
Democrat. That's what they want. Defund the police, get rid of them, so there is no police. It's just like Pittsburgh. They only have a cop out there, like 8 hours a day or something.
Well, Brian, I mean, I'm glad I called in because I mean, some of this stuff I just had to get off my chest. But
anytime, we're here every Wednesday.
What you're doing for the people of this area, I am so looking forward to having a venue that actually gets out the word of the truth for once. This area, trying to do anything with the media is very, very difficult.
Puppy dogs.
I mean, they loved me. They loved me when I had something to do about aviation. I was the first one they'd ever call.
Yeah,
when I was running, they didn't know me for beans.
Oh no, you were running against Pizarro. You were running against a Democrat. You
You mean
know,
the guy I beat the day of the election?
I know how you feel, my friend, but yeah,
Nobody's ever done that before, and I hope he remembers that forever.
and we the team has been working really hard not to do to fix that, and we're getting resistance. We're doing better. I watched a thing from Mrs. Trump today talking about Scott Pressler and how many mail-in ballots he has personally signed up for in Pennsylvania. That man is a genius, and
Scotty is so
I am
much energy, it's not even funny.
there's one thing I don't like. There's one thing I don't like about it. You know what I don't like about him? He has got
Oh,
the
you don't like his hair.
best hair. Man, his hair is beautiful. It's just gorgeous hair. Oh,
Oh,
Scott,
and he's like 6'2", 6'3". I mean, he's definitely a sight when you first see him. But the guy has got more energy than anybody.
I met him. He was on a YouTube video, and he was in downtown New York, and just standing on the corner and going, "Why do you people support illegal aliens over our veterans?" And I'm like, "Who's this guy with the great hair?" I'm gonna have to follow this
Oh
guy.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean,
he,
you got to have people like that. People like John. I mean, I love
yep,
John. I'm glad you had him on.
we're,
His energy is the same way. I
we
mean, we do have people like that, but
oh
we need
we're
all
there.
of them.
And that's why Brendan and I do this show. We do this show to bring us all together, to get it out there, get the message. You can call in. Greg, you've been on the phone for 30 minutes. Hey, Greg, do I say, hey, you got to go? I got a commercial break, hard
No,
break, soft break? No, you've been talking for 30 minutes. I don't care. It doesn't cost me anything other than what we paid for. But, people are
right.
typing nice things about us. So we got Nathan in here. He's been doing a lot of good stuff. But,
There's a good team, and you are a key and vital part
thank
of
you.
this, and I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate it. And Greg, keep up the good work, man. You and I have we've had our words, but then we end up being friends at the end of the day,
Oh, of course, we always are. You're
Yeah.
like a brother to me. You know that. So,
Yeah.
it's nothing that, I mean, brothers fight. That's fine. But when it all comes down to it, all we want is what's good for the people.
It's the same mission. We just got to get there different ways. But then Greg, thanks for coming out, man. We
Hey,
appreciate it.
thank you. Tell
I
Brenda I said hi, and I will talk to you soon.
Oh, she's listening.
Okay. Bye.
See you later, Greg.
The producer, she's got us. But no, and this is what we want to start doing, and this is what we're going to be doing. It's hard to do to get these people lined up because sometimes evenings are hard because they're at this or they're doing that and they got the family. But during the day, it's just people. I mean, the majority of us are all working, so this just doesn't work. I can do it. I'm semi-retired. I got a pretty flexible schedule, but we looked at it, we worked on it, we did some polls on it Wednesday at 9. We brought it back to 8. Yeah, there was a question in the room about the Hellcat cop. There was a state trooper. Oh, we got Matt calling in. All right, Lieutenant.
Well, hello, my campaign sergeant.
How's your nose doing, sir?
Oh, it's been great. I'm sorry I made you mad last week that I had to get like that.
No, I don't get mad. Trust me, I don't get mad. No, it's
yeah,
all good. It's all good. So, how's the campaign going? I mean, I know it's still kind of like we're on home base running for first, but there's a lot of big events coming up. And your social media is getting better. And Brenda put together that collage of all the local candidates. And of course, we wouldn't forget you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate it. And even better, she got me some nice shirts that I'll finally be able to wear now because last week with the whole nose thing, it was hard to get anything over my neck. But
Well, see what happens when you're the campaign sergeant and your lieutenant doesn't listen. Sometimes you got to give them a gentle elbow to remind them to listen.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's not true. I'm not a violent person, but no, I mean, we got, there's a lot of things coming up. There's a lot of good events coming up. Pay attention to my social media. I've been just posting stuff up. I try to keep you in the loop, and you always have time to call in. So for the folks that never, ever met you, tell us who you are, what district, and who you're running against. Floor is yours.
Absolutely. So I'm Matt Strubcheski, so it's going to be the longer ski on the ballot, but I'm running for state rep of District 2 there. And so that'd be against Mirsky because you brought up my favorite topic there. It's the windmills right now.
Ugh.
And I guess that was one of my main things for calling is honestly, surprisingly, like before this, like I was actually, I like some of the ideas as far as wind turbines or solar farms in separate, I guess, use cases. When it comes to in our lake, I think it's horrible because you guys brought up plenty of good ideas, but some of the main ones that I didn't even realize before this when I was more on board, but I've been leaning heavily away from is I didn't realize the lifespan of some of the actual wings of the turbine.
Yep.
Or even worse than that, I think you shared the video of all of the dredging when they're doing the when they're digging it up in the ocean to get the base set up, or not ocean, the lake, but
Right.
so like I didn't realize how much it would have an effect on there, and we've already had plenty of issues in the past with the quality of water in our lake, so I don't know how much we should be affecting that. And then even above all, with all of that, the thing that's really bad for me is we have to think that like Presque Isle is our main attraction in mass outside of Erie to come to Erie. That's our main point of why people come to Erie, because of Presque Isle, because of our Presque Isle sunset. Yeah, there's a lot of other great things, but I would say the number one thing people hear about outside of the county is our beaches, and that's what draws us. So if we start destroying the one thing we have and the one thing that's nice, it's you can like windmills, you can dislike windmills, you can say it has good effects, it has bad effects, but the reality is we'd be destroying one of our main tourist attractions, and that would be horrible. And then on top of that, we're paying to destroy our main tourist attraction. We're paying, however, what was it, 550 million per turbine or something like that. Maybe that was the whole project, but some crazy amount so we're paying for our downfall there. I mean, this is as bad as back with the Slomsky wanting to charge to get on Presque Isle, but so like
Yeah. And it's just funny that you hear all the Republicans say no. It's not we're against green energy. My wife has the whole backyard lit up with solar powered everything. If the power went out in the neighborhood and you were in the air, you could find our house with just a solar lights. Uh,
yeah,
so I mean, it's just a small little thing we do, but we all think about green. We've switched, all my studio lights are all LED lighting. They're not halogen and, costs us a fortune to run. So you're like, you Republicans don't care about the environment. Yeah, I do. Really do. That's just a typical Democrats, trying to label us and sticking us in that pigeon box. Say, we Republicans don't like the environment. Yeah, I do. That's why I don't want these stupid windmills out there. And here's, the Three Stooges. Oh, yeah, they're good for the environment until they fail. And then it's a
it's
shitstorm.
the biggest separation that Democrats and Republicans have. It's not even about whether we like them or not, like you're saying. It's more of I feel Republicans actually think of the attainability and the feasibility of these projects. So like 10, 15 years ago, a battery powered lawnmower that's going to be ridiculously big, hard to push, not feasible. But you wait 10, 15 years, all of a sudden, hey, it's possible, it's actually usable. This makes sense to do it at this stage. So now we do it. It's about doing it when it's the right time, not just dumping money to try to make it make sense. Because who knows? I know one of the biggest things they're trying to crack down with a lot of solar to make it a lot cheaper and easier to produce by like 90% is trying to crack down utilizing more silicone components to make it less I guess less of the more precious materials inside of it. So like yes, a lot of this would be more attainable. We just got to give it time. And dumping money is not a good excuse, especially when our budget in PA is already atrocious. So I always like to say feasibility and attainability is the biggest thing. And they just don't like that we say yes, but you have to wait. It's like we're the parent and we're telling our kid like, hey, you can have that, but you just gotta wait. We gotta wait till your birthday, Christmas, wait till whatever, you're old enough.
Well, that was one of the biggest projects we did on county council. I was there, and Brenton Davis in Penn State Barron with Project Resolve, the battery testing facility. People
Yeah.
scream bloody murder about this. Wait a minute. You guys want a clean environment. You guys want batteries. We need to make them better, more efficient. cleaner. And here we're trying to be partners with the smartest kids in Harbor Creek up on the hill, and we
Yeah.
get pushback. Why? Because they wanted that money for their pet projects and they didn't get it.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
actually, when I was, so again, when I was president of student government at Barron, I had one of the professors there, the sustainability director. She's a very nice lady, very passionate about what she does, but she had a government grant that was coming up. It was coming due, I don't know, it was like a month or 2 months out. And she's like, okay, so they'll pay for the actual uh, the material. We just have to pay for the install. But the install was like 90 grand or something ridiculous. And I'm like, hey, you have it in 3 separate locations across campus. Like, what if we just did it at one to test it out, see how it goes, see how many people utilize it, and then maybe do the build out slower so we could break up costs? Because, Penn State's having horrible financial issues right now, too, which I had to deal with all that budget while I was there. And she's like, "Oh, well, this grant I can only do it in a lump." And I'm like, "Well, you're giving me 30 days to come up with like 120 grand. So I don't know what you want me to do here because we had money. We didn't have that much money to give out for that. So
Well, just yeah, just throw an extra nickel onto your Kappa Frino Chapa Kappa Loba big coffee cups you guys drink up there. I see when I go up there, you guys always have these cups running around. Charge an extra quarter. There you go. No problem. Financial problem solved.
yeah.
Pass it off onto somebody else.
See, that's the lovely part. The structure of Penn State, we have it's a semi false sense of ownership and agency there, where you can control some little minor things that don't matter, but big decisions go from main campus. So they like to
Yeah.
keep their hold on it in their
Yeah.
own way.
Typical lieutenant. You always want to poo-poo the sergeant's idea. I mean, I know how this works. I was in the army a long time, and you're a brand new
Colonel
butter
said
bar.
no.
Yeah, no, I got it. But man, like I said, we're out pushing for you. You got a lot of road to cover. I think your timing's right. I have folks that are very deep into the Democrat Party, and I don't know if I should tell you this. Now you're going to get a big head, and you're going to have even more problems. They're actually very nervous. They are.
Really?
They really are, and this is from credible sources that I won't kiss and tell because then he won't give me any good intel. But they're nervous because this whole Republican pushback is going to be huge. This sniffy, creepy, cult leading Joe. I want to sniff your kid's head, Biden, which he needs to go. There's going to be a trickle down of all these small races, and I think you're in the right spot, the right time with the right creds, and
Yeah.
that's why we're pushing for you.
Well, and I guess on the large scale, I haven't even fully understood that. I don't get why they're so badly pushing a candidate that is just so apparently horrible. Say whatever you want about if the people who like or dislike Trump, the people who are for Biden, I don't understand. I do not understand any argument for Biden because at this point, regardless of party, it's elder abuse. Like it's just sad of like let him go sit down and eat his ice cream. Like if you want, put up somebody else, funnel all this money and all this BS attempts at whatever you want to do. Like put it into somebody who actually has a chance. But why are you so desperately pushing someone with starting at 43% and constantly falling approval ratings? Like why are they so stuck that it has to be Biden?
Power. It's real simple. They've got it. They can manipulate him. You think he doesn't write his speeches, and look what happens when he comes off script. He insults African Americans at their graduation ceremony, where they literally turned their backs, physically picked up their chair, turned their backs on the president. You know, I mean, I used to be that guy. Well, you should at least respect the seat and not the man. I can't even do that anymore. I mean, I really can't do it. It's one debacle after there. Everything he touches is horrible. He talks, and these Democrats look at the crazy governor talking about how black people don't even know what computers are. How more insulting can you be to the folks of this country? And then and Sniffy Joe, how many times has he gotten caught sniffing kids' hair? One debacle, one debacle. they changed. He can't fly on Air Force One, the big boy stairs. He has to use the kid stairs now. So you are in the right spot. You're on the right track. You keep it clean. You keep it on point. And you know what? I don't have any concerns. I know money's a factor. We get that. This is where we come in the show and say, hey, you see these local candidates, throw these people some money. Throw them $10, $20, $100, whatever. It'll make a difference because I am sick and tired of this Democrat bullshit getting shoved down our throats, and we're supposed to like it like it's ice cream. No.
Absolutely. And then we get a great example when we see the one Republican rep we have in the area. We're already hearing great stories within his first term of him going out and doing things and actually, think of this newsflash, helping his constituents.
What?
It's amazing.
No.
I know. It's almost taboo to say.
Yeah, and you got Punxsutawney Phil Harkins that comes out only time at election time.
Did I tell you what he said at the Holy Trinity
Oh,
event?
Jesus. Lay it on us.
He gets on the stage, and I don't remember it word for word, but it was something along the lines of, he goes, well, I was here last year. Just wanted to say, hope you go out and vote for me again. Thank you. And he gets off the stage. It wasn't even like 15 seconds long because he knows it's at this point. It's like he knows nobody's running against him. No, he doesn't even have to try. Even if somebody was running against him, he knows he's just so cocky. He doesn't even have to try.
No.
When everybody else, and I'll give him props. Even Mirsky went out there, gave a real, talked about real things. Bizarro's chief of staff was there. Bizarro wasn't there himself. He went up and he actually said real things. But Harkins didn't even attempt. He
doesn't have
went
to.
up there and said, "Hey, thanks."
Shocked he even showed up because I know when I was on council, we would invite them down for a deal or something, press conference or whatever. There he is in shorts. I'm like, what is with you Democrats in shorts? I like wearing shorts. Trust me, but it's time to go to work. But that's just they're just so disrespectful to the machine and tradition and honor. Fetterman. They had to write rules that he has to wear a suit to work. I mean, come on. And then I got to pick on Chuck Nelson a little bit. I bumped into him yesterday. It was at Mike Kelly was down and they were at the Warner Theater and they were they had hearings of and it was really, really cool to meet all the congressmen from different states. And here comes our guy. Here comes our guy, polo shirt and shorts and deck shoes. Really? This is a hearing from other congressmen that came to Erie to kind of look at it and say, wow, this is kind of cool. Thanks for inviting us. Talk to the guy from Arizona. And Chuck Nelson shows up in shorts. Dude, at least throw some khakis on. Have a nice day. But I told him, he said, you do look better. You don't look like a hippie anymore. You got a haircut. Looks pretty decent, but no. But yeah. So anything coming up you want to talk about? Don't hesitate to shoot me a text. We'll get you lined up. You can talk about. We don't have any real kind of like say we don't want you here. But if you're an anti-liberal wackadoodle, don't stop by because I will hang up on you. I mean, I will. If you can't be reasonable, stop the name calling, stop the doxing, stop the internet crap. I really got to, take a shot, at this, the city school board, your president, he should be up in mental health, let alone doing that. But I won't digress. So, man, I appreciate you calling, my friend. You always have a safe place to call in and chit chat.
Appreciate it. Only last thing I have is
Anything
I
you
did
need.
get a order of signs in. So if anybody wants a yard sign for their front yard,
Nice.
it's a free, easy way to help me out. All you have to do is set it and forget it. So
Set
that's
it,
the last
forget
I
it.
have.
Man, I appreciate. Yeah, make sure you get one out here. Like I said, I had no problem putting them out. And matter of fact, the only ones I really have now is McCormick and Garrity, and they're under LED solar powered spotlights.
Wow, what a Republican!
Such a Republican, man. Thanks for calling out, my friend.
Thanks for having me. See you, Shank.
Appreciate it. Yeah, great night, man. Got a lot of good calls. A lot of good things. I think I got one more thing I want to do. Unless Nate, did you want to call in? Did you have a few things you want to talk about? There he is. You are live, boots on the ground. How you doing, young man?
Brian, how you doing?
Pretty good. What's up?
I'm doing good. Earlier, you responded to what is it? How Biden's not going to be on the ballot in Ohio.
I saw people chatting about that. Yes.
Yeah, this is why it's important when it comes to the political party structure. How just going from the local committee to state committee to national committee, all these delegates we just elected on the primary day, the Republicans, they're going to be on the ballot in every state because they're having the convention at the right time at a proper time, because states do have filing deadlines.
Right.
You know, and it's very unusual to have a convention mid-August. I think is when the Democrat convention is.
Sounds about right.
I believe the Republican convention, I think, might be in. Is it in June? Is it in mid to late June?
I think it's June. I could be wrong if someone wants to Google it up and put it in there, but yeah. So yeah. I mean, you and I have met in passing, but I think it's the first time you've ever called in, isn't it?
Yeah, I've watched a couple times. This is the longest. I'm going to be honest. It's been quite a few years since I've listened to a show for more than an hour.
Well,
so I don't.
Tonight's kind of unusual because we had some good callers. We had Dr. John Diamond on here. I mean, I talked to him a couple of days ago. I said, "Listen, I know it's short notice." He's like, "Oh, I got the grandkids. I'll call ahead." And but we want the people. We want people like you. We want people like Greg. The people, the movers and shakers, are elected officials. I've got some calls out to the McCormick team to come in here. But yeah, you're a mover and a shaker, my friend.
Yeah, indeed. Also, I wanted to bring up some information that I have from 2023 turnout in Erie County at large.
Right.
The lowest turnout group was unaffiliated / independent voters, and they made up only 15.7% of them came out to vote. Almost 41% of Democrats came out to vote. 37% of Republicans came out to vote. I know that I noticed something. I only moved to Erie County here last year, and something I know people like me and Corey found out here in Erie County this year is because the state GOP is not a fan of people in the Erie. They're not a fan of this party because they're anti-establishment.
Right.
They're someone that's willing to buck the trend. So apparently, sometime in the last few years, the state GOP told everyone in the Erie GOP to not do things like poll reading on election day, which is a complete culture shock to pretty much anyone in any county, and it's extremely efficient. I've been involved in campaigns in probably close to half a dozen counties at this point here in Pennsylvania. I've circulated for candidates, Chester, Lancaster, Montgomery, Lehigh. I've been to events all across the state. I know in Butler, I know when I was talking to Corey Check, Corey told me that there were 4 poll graders at his polling station alone. Close to 40% of election day voters can have their mind changed when they're at the polls.
I agree.
I know it's one of the most astonishing things I've actually ever seen, especially if you're the only person. And I drove around to a bunch of places. The polls this year, they were just dead.
Oh, I mean, I get it. I mean, as a former candidate, we want to put people out on the street to have a sign, have a brochure, have a fingernail file, whatever. No one wants to work. Nobody wants to volunteer. Nobody wants to help. It's just like, with the Cormick team, I talk to Pete all the time about, he's like, Brian, what do we do? We need people. I said, well, we're working on it. I said, the Republican Party is in a huge kind of like morphous. We're ready to change. We got reorganizations coming up in June, sorry. And
Yeah.
I think that will rattle the cage. And we've got great committee people that just got elected, great committee people that are ready to go to work. I said, I know you're frustrated. Hang on, brother. We will get to the people here really quick. Help is on the way.
Oh yeah, because I know one of the few things I am worried about is eventually my worry is that candidates for statewide office in 2026 we're most likely gonna have an open primary for governor and lieutenant governor to pay whoever we nominate to pay Shapiro, right?
Right.
Part of the reason why statewide candidates show up to local parties and woo members of committee is because, well, they know that not every member of committee will go and canvass ahead of a primary. But in my experience in 2022, I was persuaded to support. I was persuaded one of these events. When I was on the Lancaster County Committee, I was persuaded to support Charlie Giroux, and I helped cover 3 polling stations on election day, and all 4 precincts that were covered by those places. Charlie statewide got 2%. In my precincts, he got a double-digit percentage. You
Wow.
know, it is heavily, and that was even in the governor's race. You know, can you imagine what that does down ballot for things like state rep and Congress?
And again, you're a smart guy. You're watching the numbers, and we know that. Kim filters me your texts, and I see what you're posting, and she sends me all that cool stuff. But the problem is we have a people problem. We have a turnout problem. I ran three elections, and barely had people show up, barely had money donated, and barely had people to come out and help. People don't take these seriously, but then the Democrats show up with $250,000 of dirty DC money. People, now are you paying attention that they wanted control of the Board of Elections? That's all they cared about. The pretzel that read against me, he says nothing, he does nothing. I haven't seen him put one piece of nothing out, but he is
And from what I've heard, he knows nothing.
he knows nothing, but he's the vice chair of county council, and he's the vice chair of the board of election. The guy's an idiot, and they put him in these vice chair positions. Why? Because he's bought and paid for, and he's controllable, just like Sniffy Joe.
I know something else that I noticed is that what is it on primary day? I'm gonna be honest. The excitement among Democrats was also substantially lower as well. Like I saw yard signs at a bunch of places, but not all of them. Even the Democrats are not as excited this year. It is definitely something I have noticed.
Yeah,
I mean,
to quote Dean Pepicello, good friend, Harbor Creek supervisor, he goes, Brian, signs don't vote. Okay, you're right. But the problem is they have been able to capture the true strength of these mail-in ballots. They knocked doors. They went to the voters that don't come out and vote and say, hey, we can make it even lazier for you. And they got a little bit of traction, and it's just enough to beat us because we won't bend. Did I lose you?
oh no, not at all.
Oh, okay, good. I'm like, oh man, I lost Nate. But yeah, so
Not that quick.
I'm just trying to motivate the people. And I've talked nice, I've talked soft, I've been mean, I've been Sergeant Shank guy, and it just doesn't. We I think what was the turnout rate in the primary this spring? I know you're a smart guy. You probably got that number right on your head.
Actually, I might be something I can just pull off of the county election website.
I heard
Uh,
24%.
It was probably. I honestly, I thought it was. I thought it was a little lower than that.
I was being nice.
Yeah, because I mean, I know in our congressional district, the highest turnout county is Butler, which is why they've always dominated in the past. Why for like the last decade and a half, why it's definitely been a heavy reason why Mike Kelly has been our congressman.
Right.
He was on the city council in the city of Butler. He's well liked down there, and when the city of Butler, I'm sorry, not city, but when Butler County at large has over 40% turnout and a presidential primary, like so, if we go back to 2020 data is all out. So if you take a look at the 2020 primary data, take a look at Butler. Butler had almost 42% turnout. And then Crawford, which is right below us, had just under 34%.
Right.
That's a pretty big difference. And you go to Lawrence at 35, Mercer at 30, at just under 34 as well. Then us in Erie, we're all the way down to 30%.
Wow. I know.
We are technically the bottom of the barrel.
But we're so important. People don't realize that we are so important to these races. And I had a video I'm going to play after I'm done with you. It talks about the college electoral vote and how this is really going to swing. And they talked about the math behind this state went this way for Biden last year, but the polls are showing this trends going this way. So that was what after I done with you, I had a nice little video to play, and then I was going to bring this thing in for a landing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do to motivate. And then you
I,
got
I, I think the local party organization, not just the local party organization, it also comes down to the regional influence. Um, I don't know if you know this, but do you know how many municipalities in Erie County Trump lost in 2016?
I can't. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
He lost two. He lost the city of Erie and he lost Edinburgh Borough.
Eh,
Uh, he
yeah,
won. Yeah, he won Mill Creek Township by single digits in 2016, and he
that's
won
right.
Lawrence Park Township by single digits in 2016. In 2020, he lost Mill Creek and Lawrence Park by single digits, which means these were competitive municipalities. They
Right.
flipped. He maintained he won in Leslieville Borough again. But there is some things that a lot of people don't know is that I attended the Ways and Means hearing. I approved of Kelly's work on Ways and Means and purporting and pushing up the Trump tax cuts and how important they are. You know, um, but Mike Kelly in 2022 lost Harbor Creek Township, a municipality that Trump won in both 2016 and 2020. Um, Mike Kelly lost uh, Lake City Borough, a municipality that Trump won by 15 points in 2016. He won it again by like 12 or 13 in 2020. Mike Kelly lost it in 2022. And he also lost Leslieville Borough by more than a few points, a municipality that Trump never had a problem in. So we definitely do have a problem when it comes to the federal level. Maybe Mike Kelly's he's nearing his end in the next few years. Either he's retiring in 26 or 28. He is approaching the life expectancy.
Right. Right. Right.
you know, maybe he is just grinding at the end because I know if you go back over a decade, I mean I know Erie County, its various municipalities have been changing over the last decade or so, and how various areas vote. However, these kinds of underperformances cannot be maintained in the future because I think our congressional district is without a doubt one of the has the opportunity to trend to the right the most. I think the other two, the 8th congressional district, Northeast Pennsylvania, currently represented by Congressman Matthew Cartwright, Democrat up there. I think if Cartwright doesn't lose this time, he loses in 26. They made his district 1% more Democrat after redistricting, and he still won by less than he did in 2020. And in 2022, he still won by less than he did in 2020. So I think if he pulls it off in 2024, it's going to be by less than a point. he'll be he'll probably be jumping, screaming about that. But
Yeah.
but the other congressional district Republicans have the most room to grow in the state. It's Guy Reschenthaler's district in Southwest. Um, but the thing is, I just look at it. We really are on the up and up in registration. Like if you look at the Corey zip code area of our county, the city of Corey, Elgin Borough, not Washington, Concord Township, and Wayne Township. There are more registered Democrats than registered Republicans that came out to vote in November of 2020 in both Concord and Wayne Township. Yet Trump got about 75% of the vote in both of those townships.
Wow, that's some pretty good numbers. And and then look, we've always been pretty solid on council in that area. With Charlie Bale still holding a Republican seat. Scott Rastatter had it before him, but he was just kind of goofy as a guy, and the people like we don't want you anymore. So we brought in a veteran ex-trooper to really be the guy. But yeah,
Yeah,
you bring us
because
good
here in
numbers,
Erie
man.
County, because when it comes to our countywide races, the margins we put up in these rural areas, or I'm sorry, outside the immediate Erie areas, this is without a doubt key to how we can win. Like I don't know if you know this, but what's it called? So if you take, I actually want to pull up the exact numbers, but I have it saved in a photo. I want to pull up from the 2023 state Supreme Court race with how Carolyn Carluccio performed. So Carolyn Carluccio won Erie County. All right, so the margins in these areas. So if you look at the city of Erie, Carolyn Carluccio lost it by less than 25%. Keep in mind, Trump lost the city of Erie in 2016 by 28%, then he lost it in 2020 by 29%. So, he did, Carluccio did marginally better in the city of Erie. Mill Creek Township, Carolyn Carluccio lost it by about 3.5 points, and she won the rest of the county by just over 15%.
Right.
However, what I think is most notable out this data, everyone knows Mill Creek is competitive. All right. Everyone knows the city of Erie is trending to the right. But I think what was most notable about these numbers is that, so if you add up the population of the city of Erie and Mill Creek Township, it's around 150,000 of the close to 270,000 people that live here in Erie County, right?
Okay.
So there's 120,000 people that live in the rest of the county. That's a minority of the population, right?
Sure.
There were more voters that came out to vote in the rest of the county. So basically, what is it? So 150. So what is that? About 150 divided by 270. That's so basically, despite making up 55, 56% of the population, the city of Erie and Mill Creek made up less voters than the rest of the county.
Yeah. It's funny when you really break the numbers down and go, wow.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that if we want to consistently win countywide races, like I was looking at the county recorder results, like our Republican nominee for I think it was county recorder in a precinct that Trump won by 38. Our Republican nominee won. He won every precinct in the city of Corey by less than 10. Trump won the city of Corey by over 30 points. You know, we can't put up margins. We can't put up margins like that in these areas.
Yeah, and that's where local politics really kick in, and I get that. And just like with, with my race, I ran a clean race against Kyle Faust, beat him fair and square. It wasn't a landslide, but it was a good win. We flipped that seat. That's the first time a Republican sat in that seat for over 20 years. And then of course I became chairman twice. They were pissed about that. So that's where they threw the money and, the whole Photoshop insurrection bullshit. And it just, it goes to show you, a little bit of push the one way or the other, the numbers will change on you real quick.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, because I just know that the main focus that it's something that does need to be made clear with the committee is that at the end of the day, look, we are not elected officials, but we are elected members of the party, and we are elected by voters. It is a serious. And as a committee, we're going to be in charge of funding. We are in charge of funding, and when we do a large said about a local issue and hands the party $10 or $20, we need to understand that when we take money, we need to be making sure that we're putting in the work. Because if we don't, when Kelly retires, a lot of people from other counties or people who are not extremely familiar with the local committee, they may want to give money to the party to curry favor, and if that favor doesn't really change anything, we can be making some very powerful enemies.
And that's a great way to put it. But you must be doing something with your phone because you're really loud and then you're not. So that sounds better.
I'm just in a room with a little bit of echo.
No, I get that. It sounds like it sounds like you dropped it between your pillow. That's what it sounds like. But yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate. I know you're a smart guy. You got the numbers down, and in the future, we hope you can call in again, and we can talk these numbers again when the races get really, really close. And I was there at that meeting. I saw you walk in, but I didn't get to you. I was there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was there, but so
yeah.
yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if it's just gonna be a habit. I show up to Women's Republican Club events just late at this point,
Well, you know what? It's the fact that you're showing up and you're taking interest, and that's why these people come in the show. They come in Wednesdays, and we talk about the things we need to talk about. And that's the only way we're going to change it is having a good conversation, have the facts, have the figures, have the numbers, have people motivated to come in and talk about them. And like I said, I appreciate you calling. You can call in anytime, my friend.
Oh, just curious. Are you going to be at Jake Vance's fundraiser on Sunday?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
I'm going to be there. Yeah.
I'm going to bring both my big flags. I want to ride a bison, and my wife says I can't jump out of hairpines anymore.
What does she know?
Happy wife, a happy life.
Hey, I can hear that.
All right, Nate, thanks for calling in, man. Call in next Wednesday night. We'll talk. Bring some good numbers with you.
I will. All right. See you.
Thanks. Now, see, that's what we want. A nice young guy that's smart and actually gets it and has the numbers to back it up. I mean, come on, we're I think we're like 10 o'clock. I think Brenda, we're just gonna go ahead and bring this thing in for a meeting. We have a lot of people on X tonight. I can see the stats and I can look at it. We had the most people are watching on X live, and I appreciate that because that's one of our new formats. So I want to personally thank you guys and ladies for coming in tonight. I didn't have any outro music set up ready to go because we had some great calls. I just got so excited about the calls I forgot to pull up the outro music. I will basically just go. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Like we say at the end of all the shows, Shank out. Remember, everybody deployed, and I salute you. Good night, everybody. Oh, I think it's time for Brenda. Like I said, we've really learned about Restream and what we can do. We do have T-shirts for sale. There's the T-shirts we have for sale. We can put them on any shirt, but they look really cool in red. If you want one, contact Brenda. I appreciate you all coming out. I appreciate you sharing your Wednesday night. Let's go to bed. It's past my bedtime. Shank out.